Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Mr. here. Today we are back to cover the long-awaited Chronojet Dragon D deck profile. Yep, we are going to be playing the main Chronojet in the right deck. We're not going to play the old copy because we are not here to flex. So as you probably guessed, this is not my deck. Today we have Fader 4th.
I love striding, guys.
Alright, so today we're going to go through the Chronojet deck profile. Now if you want to see the actual unboxing or just what comes in the actual set, there's a link in the description below for the unboxing, so you can take a look at that. So today's video is very simple. We're going to be building hopefully an optimal deck for Jet, because as you can probably guess, while Jet, the deck set is actually really good, and if you just have the deck set, it actually still does pretty well, there are still some things you can do to change it around and solve some of the deck's, in inverted commas, weaknesses, because this is still a 2014 deck at the end of the day. And its weakness against D format is obviously going to be against, it doesn't have that great of an earlier game as compared to stuff like Youth Book or Ebisu and stuff that really turns on really fast and then, you just die. So today we are going to try and fix that problem with some very sad text, some very unconventional text, and some text that will leave you wondering, hey, how much is Swirler again? So today we are going to be covering all of that. So we need to actually start with the right deck. The right deck we obviously play is the same, provided Chronojet, the Dark State Tourist, Mesa Gear Dragon, the Crest Enabler, this is Small Gear, the Great Tree Finder, and of course Chronojet Dragon. So take it away.
Okay, so your Dren is your typical D series starter, but you do have to play him because Mesa Gear does require you to ride on top of Chronojet. So his skill is that when you go second, you draw a card. Oh yeah, this will end up being very funny when you get to Mesa Gear, because Mesa Gear says when you ride is that when ridden on top of Chronojet, you draw a card and you get the Chronojet Dragon Crest. So yeah, so the Crest has 4 abilities. The Crest has 4 abilities. So one of the first ability is that you are allowed to strike, and you can only, until the end of this fight, you can only ride great trees with the name with Chronojet Dragon in his name. So you can only ride Chronojets. I'm obviously showing you what. So I'm obviously showing you Chronojets that you are not in standard, but these are the options that you have if you want to play other formats. You can only ride these Chronojets.
But of course in D you can only play this Chronojet or the actual older Chronojets that you own. It only works on Chronojet Dragon in terms of D series, but in premium you can play whatever you wish.
Yes, I'm happy that they at least took into account premiums. They didn't just say, oh, you can only ride Chronojet Dragon.
I mean, that will force you to the V1.
Yeah, I mean the V1 is still good, but you can't even ride into Mystery Flare. What's the point?
Oh no, Mystery Flare!
Oh my god. Okay, then so if you ever notice, this means that if you go second, Mesa Gear lets you draw 2 cards because you get 1 card from Dren, you get 1 card from riding Mesa Gear, so you plus 2 immediately from just riding. I think that's pretty good. Speaking of plussing, let's talk about Smoke Gear Dragon. So Smoke Gear actually has no skill when ridden on top of Mesa Gear.
Vanilla?
Yeah, the vanilla. Oh, who have known? Oh my god! Oh my god, who have known?
Vanilla?
So, but his ability is that when ridden by a Chronojet Vanguard, so Chronojet. I think
the point
you get a Chronojet
has been beaten into well enough.
Yes. You search your deck for any great tree and then you add it into your hand. It's so plus 1. So it's so plus 1, you search your deck for any great tree, you add it into your hand. So there's 2 targets that we'll go into later. Of course, there's Chronojet himself, and of course Team Fighter Bali, which you both get in the Strike deck set. And of course, we have the big man himself, Chronojet Dragon. So the Chronojet's ability
is exactly the same as 2014. So
yeah, so there's no reason why. Just watch the anime.
Yeah, it's 11k base. There's no persona, right? So you can use all your extra copies for striding.
Yes.
When straight upon, just count +1.
Don't worry.
Your regards to the bot deck.
Yeah.
Bonus regards to the bot deck, and then generation rate 2 when he attacks, gain 5k. Your opponent cannot call grade 1 or higher. Now this is where the Sentinel Restrict actually works at a 1-to-1 level. So for all of you people who are still playing Metal Box in V series, give up.
Okay, so now is actually a good time to transition to talking about the rest of the crest. So besides being allowed to strike, as well as only allowing you to ride Chronojet Vanguards, your Chronojet, the card, like Chronojet as in the card,
yes,
will become a 13k base. So any card with Chronojet in its name will be a 13k base on Vanguard Circle, Rearguard Circle, or as your hard card. So it means that even if you strike over him, so the spoiler alert, strike over him, it will be 13k. So it means that it's 13 plus 15, so it's 28.
It's just like playing premium then.
Yeah, so it's really, really very good, and it basically means that he has no drawbacks compared to all the other D series bosses, which all are 13k base. The third ability is the reason why this deck is complete monkey nuts bastard. So for every face-up card in your G zone, if you have a grade 3 or greater Chronojet Vanguard, so in case you didn't know, when you strike on top of Chronojet, the strike will inherit Chronojet's name. So let's say you strike Fate Rider.
I mean, that's just a strike mechanic.
Yeah, so not only is your name Interdimensional Dragon, Fate Rider Dragon,
Metallica Phoenix,
or it's also considered Chronojet Dragon. So it means your counter has a grade 3 or greater Chronojet Dragon Vanguard, then the crest will activate that. All of your front row units will gain 5,000 power for every single face-up card in your G zone.
Can you imagine this with a Messiah strike deck set?
Oh wait. Oh no. Oh no.
Yep.
No more 11k pokes.
No more 11k pokes with your Arrestor Messiah.
Oh my god.
It's going to be.
And then the final skill is actually it's sort of a tricky thing to discuss because it actually has quite a lot of applications. Is at the start of your battle phase, you choose one of your grade 3 rear guards and reduce its grade from 3 all the way to 0. So this will come into. So basically, you see Barley here, you'll count as a grade 0 during the battle phase. So this will come up in the future, in later when we get to the G zone, as well as also it will come out in premium because time. You can see where we're going with this.
CTB.
Yeah, but other than that, that is the crest is very, 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 very good. And
it's the main enabler for this deck,
yeah.
really. It saves this deck from being downright irrelevant on release, I would say, because it is a 2014 deck, right? So
yeah.
The way you fix the 2014 deck, as Kidani has now opted, is you straight up just print a card and solves every problem. So
I guess.
yeah.
So.
I mean, that's what they do with Tempest, right? So they can do it for us, surely. They can do it for us.
Yes, they can.
Alright, moving on to the grade 3s. Our grade 3s are very simple. We play 3 copies of Chronojet, and then in the right deck, we obviously play one more. Well, we have to play 4 because we have a reason for doing that.
Yes.
And then we play 4 copies of
Steve Fighter Balif. So Chronojet, as I explained already, we are playing 4 copies for Force Shadowing. Force Shadowing, we'll explain later. Balif, he is probably the strongest card in this entire deck set. I have no idea why they printed a card that literally is everything Gear Chronicle needs in one card. Number 1, GB2. GB2, if any card was put to the bottom, if any player's card was put to the bottom, the rear guard was put to the bottom there, specifically rear guard.
I mean, you don't put Vanguards at the bottom.
No, I mean you can put like search skills you can put to the bottom.
Oh yeah.
You think about Chaos, he puts the whole deck to the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah. So if any card was put to any rear guard was put to the bottom of the deck during this turn, if you have Generation Break 2, so it means you have either 2 face-up cards in your G zone, or you have 1 face-up card in your G unit on your Vanguard Circle, and then 1 face-up in your G zone. He gets 10k for the turn during your turn. So 23k beaters are already really good, especially since you combine with the crest. It will scale infinitely into like 33k, 43k.
And
so
this is a 5k shield format. So
yes.
You virtually have to spend a minimum of at least 1 trigger plus to deal with any Balifs that hop on the field. Which I mean, it's nice. Balif really deserves the recognition as someone that's relatively more overshadowed in terms of the Chronos ethos. But Chrono Ethos Jackal. Chronos ethos, right? Yeah. But I mean, now at this point, it's just straight up ridiculous that how do you make this card so stupid? And of course, if you discard this card for the cost of strike, you get to draw 1 card.
Yeah, Vanguard 0.
So you net 0.
Vanguard 0. Let's go.
Oh my god.
They haven't forgotten about you, 0 kids. Haven't forgotten.
0 news here. 0 news here.
0 news, man. I love it.
So yeah, we are physically. I mean, really, if you are playing the Chronojet deck set without Balif, what are you doing?
Yeah, so mainly this is what you're gonna search out using Smoke Gear, because then as soon as you strike, you go net
plus.
0.
Yeah, you net 0 instantly.
Yeah.
And then you plus with the drive check.
Yes.
Yep. So that's all in good. So for our grade 2s, we play 4 copies of Upstream Dragon. We also play
the forgotten
3 copies of this is
This is Term Fracture Dragon. Term Fracture
Term
Dragon.
Fracture Dragon from this is DBO6. And then of course we play one copy of Smoke Gear.
Yeah, so Smoke Gear, as you explained already, usually you want to search out Balif, or if you already have access Balif, then you can search out Chronojet for reasons that we will explain later.
Yep.
And then of course we have, okay, I'll go over Upstream first. So Upstream has had a very rocky history in Vanguard. So after his
rocky, you mean prosperous?
Besides his original form, he hasn't had a very good life in V. But you know he's back now, he's more than ready to tell people that you don't mess with the OG. You know, madam, get out of here. He's the original revert -1 grade card, and his ability is practically unchanged. But they did change some of the. They changed a lot of the wording. So his skill is that Generation Break 1, so either you have a face-up card on your Vanguard Circle as a G unit, or you have one face-up card in your G zone. When you attack, he gains 5k. So no longer is that you may choose to give it 5, he just automatically gains 5. Then now the choice is that you may put it to the bottom of the deck and search your deck for a grade 1 and call it grade 1 and call it to a back row rearguard circle as 10. So this is similar to how they worded the U-Bird, like Wayward Angel, like the new U-Bird grade 1 is that you can only call it to the back row, but it is in the stand position, so that means you can
boost it.
So that means after Upstream attacks, you can then send it to bottom, call any grade 1 you want, and it will act as a booster for later on in the turn.
Damn.
Yes.
Damn, that's pretty good.
So the thing is that they buff. So not only is Upstream number 1, it's a solo attacker because hitting 15 against your opponent's 13 that's really very good. Boosted by 8 is 23, magic number, the 5k shield format. Wow. But he also helps you train out any grade 1 in your deck. Literally the entire grade 1 pool can be trained out with just this one card. And as you will see later, we are playing quite a number of grade 1s in this deck. As you can see, we are playing quite a number of grade 1s in this deck. So Upstream is a must-have in this deck. If you're not playing Upstream, it's the same thing with Balif. What are you doing? So now for the tech options, we do have Term Fracture Dragon. So Term Fracture Dragon is mainly here for some early game, because his skill is that when his attack hits a Vanguard, you draw a card, then you put a card from your hand into your soul. So you might be thinking, so not only deck filter, it also helps you +1 to soul. And we do have some cards that rely on us having specific cards in our soul that we will need later. So we'll explain them later. But even though this is still a Dark States deck, in some of the more rudimentary aspects, so you do need to still watch out for how much soul you have. You still make a lot of plays that regarding your soul, even if your main aggression isn't relying on soul, like Bruce, like Jojo, like Gridon. Your soul is more.
Like Transrotor.
Your soul is still more.
Like Lucia.
Your soul is still like your resource engine, like to help you draw cards. To help you aggro, to help you extend even further than the deck usually does with just counter blast. And Term Fracture still helps you help you filter your soul as well as help you draw more cards. And other than that, also he helps you with the grade 2 game because it's a strike deck. If your opponent is not at grade 3, you can't strike. So
just beat his face in.
So you might as well beat his face in. Is that pressure him for some on hits and we'll get more into how you can pressure more on hits as we get to our grade 1s.
Yes, moving on into our grade 1 segment. Our grade 1s, we obviously play Mazer Gear Dragon in the right deck.
Yes.
We play 4 copies of Alim, 4 copies of this is Steam Breath, 3 copies of GG, 3 copies of Jeweled Comb, and 2 copies of
Gear Eagle of Sudden Descent, if I'm not wrong.
Yep, that should be it.
Okay, so I'll get over the obvious options first. So PGs are PGs. Elementaria Sanctario actually does work in this deck because you're not staying on a grade 4 Vanguard, so you can actually run it.
But why would you play that over the girl?
Honestly, the thing is that you have so much hand in this deck. The Flagbird player is never the Flagbird. You can confidently just throw away 4 cards just to PG the Flagbird, or you want to talk about the mirror. You have plenty of cards you have plenty of cards to use as PGs in order to stop Chronojet.
Yeah, I
the
mean,
dark
in
restrict.
the first place, it's an order. It's not a grade one. The more grade ones you have in deck, the easier you can pull out for stuff like your.
But if you
upstream.
want to play
If
Elementaris,
you want to play, it's fine.
It's fine.
It's just,
Yeah, but it's really up to you. For us, we still think that 4 Alim is the best because just look at it. It's very cute.
It's very good.
Yes.
Steam Maiden.
There we
Steam
go.
Maiden.
Yeah, Steam Maiden, guys. Steam Maiden.
Steam Maiden. You guys love Steam Maidens, right?
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's not Steam Maiden. It's GG. Steam
Scara,
Scara, GG. Soul Blast 2 to draw. It's Soul Blast 2 to draw. It's still back. So her skill is that when placed on Dragon Circle, if you have a Chronojet Dragon Crest, you need to have the crest. You don't just need to have a Chronojet Vanguard. You need to have the crest.
Yep.
Soul Blast 2. Draw 1, and if this unit was caught by a card ability,
It gains 5.
She gains 5. So there's 2 ways you can do it. Either you do it with upstream, or you can do it by spinning a grade 0 into a grade 1 using one of our G units that we will explain later.
But then again, with the crest, your grade 3s are grade 0s.
So you can, your grade 3s can also spin
Everything
into
is grade 1s. That's why we play so many grade 1s.
Yeah, so GG is one of your main targets that you want to in the event that you need to draw. Because it's just a very good draw. It's a solo attacker, you call it from card ability. And in early game also it can help you because it also lets you very aggressively draw, similar to how Arcs can aggressively help Nirvana draw, things like that.
Yeah.
Filtering through pieces is good. Speaking of filtering, that's not the best deck filter. Yes, Steam Breath Dragon. So Steam Breath got a massive buff from his original version. So he went from just being the standard strike fodder to being a grade 3 searcher in this series, and now he's here to show people the true meaning of deck winning is deck winning.
Oh my god.
You just take the card out of the deck. So he counts when used as the cost for strike, he counts as a grade 3, so it means that you're effectively playing 12 grade 3s in his deck without actually playing 12 grade 3. So you still have some 5k shield if you need to use him for shield. But his second ability is from hand. You may discard if you have a Chronojet Dragon Crest, you need the crest again. You discard this card, search your deck or your drop zone for 1 copy of Chronojet Dragon and add it to your hand. So why would you be replacing a card that counts itself as a grade 3 with another grade 3? Well, we will explain. We'll get to it, but nevertheless, you're still filtering 1 grade 3 out of your deck that you could have drive checked otherwise, and it would have been a dart. So deck technique is deck winning. Steam Breath is amazing. I've seen some people play him at 3 mainly because mainly you actually don't want to be using him as strike fodder. You mainly want to be using Barleaf because he helps you cycle. He also helps you draw. He also is a very good attack. You already have quite a lot of good attackers in this deck, so you don't necessarily need Barleaf. So you may want to cut him to 3 and then plus 1 any of the grade 1s that we are about to show you if you feel like it. But for us, we do like the security of having 12 grade 3s in this deck.
It just helps.
Yeah, and as well as you might need to use him to get your end game in the end. So it's always good to have Steam Breath in hand. It's never bad.
Yeah, it is never.
Speaking of cards that are never bad to see,
Juke Core.
Yeah, so this is a very expensive option, but it's not as expensive as the alternative.
Okay, so in this slot, you either have Gear Zero or you have Brainwall Swirler. Now we are not going to actually show you Swirler, but you could also play stuff like Gangnam, or you could just play Gear Zero.
Yeah.
All are very relevant options for this deck. Zero comes in your deck anyways.
Yeah.
You could just buy the deck set.
The main theory behind, or not really theory, the main rationale behind this slot, or actually no, the next 2 slots, but then the next 2 slots are spoiler. So is that you want to play a solo attacker because there's not a lot of there's actually quite a number of grade 1s in Dark States that count as that actually get to 13k. Yeah. But then there's not a lot of grade 2s that actually get to 13k for some reason, unless you're playing Bruce,
Unless you're playing Bruce. That's 15k.
Yeah, 15k, yeah. So Jewel Core is just the option that we have chosen because we actually have found quite a cheeky strategy with this deck that relies on you using Jewel Core, and it's very, very deadly, not only early game but also in the late game. So if you don't know what Jewel Core does,
what are you doing?
If you haven't watched our Jeju deck profile, please come and support our Jeju deck profile. But I'll give you a summary. When rolled upon by Junior, when rolled upon by Junior doesn't really matter. He's a forerunner, he can call himself out, but we don't run Junior, so it doesn't matter. And his second ability is the reason why everyone is hunting for him, everyone is hunting the entire trial deck just to throw out the whole thing and then just take this card out.
Yeah.
Is when this unit attacks or boosts, you may give it 5k, and then at the end of that battle, you put it to soul.
Yep, it goes to soul. That's it.
Yes.
It's just a 13k hit.
Yeah, so it's a 13k attacker that vanishes from the board after that. So against currently right now we're living in a control meta. We got Gravidia, we got Tempest, we got Flagbird, we got so many. So Overlord, Baromagnet, Abyss, not Abyss, Uriel. You got so many decks that just wipe your entire board in one turn. So having cards that
Nirvana.
there's so many cards that nuke themselves from the board that it's very, very good to not only have a vanishing piece that is a solo attacker, a 13k booster.
That costs you more than $13.
Yeah, and it costs you nothing. I mean, the actual.
it physically costs you.
The skill costs you nothing, but of course the card will cost you a lot.
So, for all of you that are still trying to price gouge him, I want to recommend you to buy out Swirler instead. I heard it's pretty good.
It's really good. But if you can, unfortunately, you're too late to get Swirler. We do have alternatives. So
which is
Gangnam.
So
Gangnam,
he's been around since set 1.
Yeah, set 1.
He's virtually unkillable at this point.
Yeah. So, but the thing is that the strategy that you do want to try is that on turn 1, any card that soul charges 1 as soon as turn 1, or Jewel Call in case he'll help you soul charge, but this turn is a delay because you only can use the soul on turn 2. You then that puts you at 2 soul, and that means that it lets you use GG on turn 1.
Wow.
Yeah, so if you are feeling very ballsy and when you go second, you can very aggressively just draw immediately with a GG from your hand by calling Gangnam down, because the Gangnam soul charges 1 as soon as he's placed, and then he has GG's effect, but the warm up version, which is Soul Blast. Once per turn act ability, Soul Blast 3, draw a card. Yeah, so it's not bad, but of course Swirler is better. I mean, the price difference is night and day.
Yeah.
So you really just need him for the on-play soul charge for turn 1, as well as if you do need soul for GG to actually use a better Soul Blast to draw skill.
Yeah, you can use him.
You can use Gangnam. So Gangnam is an option.
Yeah.
That you can consider.
Our last grade 1, as we have longfully delayed, and we need to rush through, is going to be
Gear Eagle of Sudden Descent. So Gear Eagle Sudden Descent is a weird card that we got in set 4.
For those of you who remember Unrivaled, now might be a good time for you to remember that card exists.
I mean, honestly, there wasn't really a use for him until a deck came out that had enough power to guarantee to actually get hits to connect. So
isn't that set 9 Bruce?
Oh yeah, set 9 Bruce.
Set 9 Bruce.
So Gear Eagle's skill is that at the end of the battle that his boosted attack hits, you may retire him. You choose a grade 1 or lower card. Actually, no, I think is it grade 1?
Yeah, it's grade 1.
Yeah, it's just you only can choose a grade 1 card from your soul and call it. So it might be, if you've been paying attention, we do play quite a number of grade 1s in this deck, but mainly your 2 options are GG, because this is counted as calling by a card ability. So if you do have 3 soul sparing around, not only do you get a solo attacker, another attacker out that is 13k, so it's a solo attacker, you also get the draw because it is called by card ability.
And you Soul Blast too, yeah.
Yeah, so actually it's the same as Gangnam, but you get another attacker. Yeah,
and don't forget the crest exists, so the crest will multiply all of your additional power. So if you're wondering why we play so many great ones, well, the crest turns them all into the most devastating Valkyrians we'll ever see.
But don't forget, we have the card that never disappears on the soul because it's a Jewel Call. So by having the boosted attack of Gear Eagle hit, you can call Jewel Call, and then Jewel Call will attack, and then he'll just go back to soul anyway. So it's a loop. So long as you can keep reproducing Gear Eagle, that's why we do play 2 in this deck. Because this doesn't really come out often, but when it does come out,
it will hurt people.
It will hurt people.
It will hurt people.
Especially since upstream lessons train out any grade 1, so it's okay to run him at low copies because it's only for the scenarios.
People will die. People will die against this. Literal lives will be lost.
Yes.
Moving on to our grade 0s, real quick, we play our favorite Dark States tourist, Chronojet. Garment Geared, this is from the set. If you haven't watched our opening, it's in the link in the description below. Yes, there is a non-foil version, so your eyes do not deceive you.
Yes.
We play a total of course, 7 crits.
Because it's Chronojet, Mark Ishii's trademark is crit.
Crit.
Yeah, then we play 4 draws, the effect draws, and we play 4 of the Steam Skara Hill from set 1.
Makes sense.
So overall, this is a very standard trigger lineup. Honestly, I think no one is expecting anything fancier. It's Gear Chronicle. You just check crit and you win.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to play France, that's completely your loss because, like, realistically speaking, I don't know what you're doing in the France. You literally have a built-in ultra force marker, so I don't know why you are in need of more front row power. If anything, you're lacking crits. This entire deck has not had a single crit gaining skill, and this is counting the G zone. So even though you pull off a lot of attacks, you don't actually hurt people because, you know, the crest, while being the all-omnipotent force marker, it only works in the late game, which means in the early game, you don't hurt crap. Even if you pour out your, you know, your 50 USD ultra killer, like, he's gonna disappear at the end of the turn, and you're just left with, you know, a -1. Yes, it is a -1. But the reason why Jet can even afford Jewel Core is because you just plus so much that a -1 hurts you at nothing. It doesn't hurt you at all. So that's why at the end of the day, you still want to make sure that you actually play crits in this deck, because anything else would just give your opponent a free win.
Yes.
Moving on to the G zone, I never thought I'd say this in a standard video. We obviously just play a very simple lineup, which is given to us. It's obviously going to be just
4 Fate Rider.
4 Fate Rider.
And 4
next
Chrono
stage.
Dragon next stage.
So, yeah.
We'll go with Fate Rider first because, you know, he's the first try. I think many Zero kids will remember him by now. But his skill is very, very, very different.
Yeah, his skill is more of Metallica Phoenix, if anything.
Yeah.
So.
Or if you play V series, it's like Time Leaper.
Yeah, it's Time Leaper.
So it's when he attacks, you counterblast 1 and you choose a card from your G zone, turn it face out. So, you know, I think in G zone, you turn one card face out. Choose one of your rear guards, you put it to the bottom of the deck. You choose a card from your deck with a same grade as that card +1, and you call it to rear guard circle. And for every face up card in your G zone, so, you know, this is for your first try, it's just 5k. But subsequently, you know, if you have multiple face up, you know, it can be 10, 15, 20, depending on how many.
So it will shoot up to, on second usage of Fate Riders, assuming your first try was Fate Rider, which it should be, you get a minimum of 15k.
Yeah, so you choose one, my thing is that it's for every face up copy of your face up card in your G zone, you activate the skill 1 time. So the skill is that you choose one of your units and give it 5k. So you can give it to your Vanguard, you can give it to your rear guard.
You get 3 little +5 bonuses.
So either you can stack it all on one unit, or you can spread it out evenly. You can spread it however you want. So it is a very, very, very simple, very, very effective card, and I couldn't see honestly, this is the best thing Chronojet I've ever gotten, which is basically a time lead card, time lead first strike. There's pseudo time lead because you don't actually send cards back to buy zone, you actually recycle them back to there. So you also prevents deck out, which is very, very, very good because it's that triple drives every turn. You are going through your deck very fast. Speaking of going through your deck very fast, how about 5 dry checks in 1 turn? So because no Chronojet deck, unless you know your ZTB, no Chronojet deck will be complete without Chrono Dragon next stage.
Or Chrono Fang, or Steam Maidens, or Mystery Flare. Oh no.
So Chrono Dragon next stage ability is actually also very different. When you are paying the cost for strike, you must discard a Chronojet name card from your hand.
So yeah, anything to do with Chronojet. So it's like it's very different because this is the only strike besides Ultimate Strike that forces you to discard a specific card. It's not Chronojet Dragon, it's just Chronojet. So yeah, the joke writes itself. But just keep that in mind.
His ability is similar. Actually, this also is sort of similar to the V series one, but not in the actual like the way the skill works. It's more like the cost. Cost is when at the end of the battle that he attacked CB1. Yeah, so the slide was wrong. CB1, counterblast 1, discard 2, send this card back to your G zone. You choose a Chronojet Dragon Vanguard, you know, basically the card that was your hard card, and you stand it. Woo! Yeah, so basically it's a restanding Vanguard, as well as, you know, because
and
it's
then
GB2,
you apply the crest bonus.
Because next stage just went back to your G zone face up. You
will have a minimum.
So if you went through Fate Rider into next stage, you will have minimum 15k. But if you did some shenanigans before that, you can have upwards of 25 or 30k going into this turn.
And that's pretty soon.
And Chronojet, of course, has his GB2, which is the Platinum District.
Yeah, so it's the same one we described earlier. And yeah, that just plays all in all into
Yeah.
the same thing. So ultimately, you notice the G zone is very,
Yeah.
very simplistic.
And also keep in mind, next stage doesn't flip himself,
Yeah.
unlike the original. So it means you can actually go into next stage more often than the original.
I mean, they gave you 4 copies. You paid for the whole speedometer. You use the whole speedometer. Use all 4. Destroy him. Let them know Mark Ishii is back in employment. And that covers our Chronojet deck profile. Is this deck going to be the next format? Is this deck going to kill people? Honestly, I don't know. I don't know if this deck is going to be, the meta whopping deck that you desire. I don't know if this deck is going to trump Ibisu, going to destroy Youth Berg, send him falling. I really don't know. But this deck is solid as we have presented, and there's so many different ways to build Jet, despite the entire deck being pre-packaged. So it amazes me that even if you buy it out of the box, or if you buy it with upgrades, or if you buy it with a different core, it's insane that this deck can still do really well. And why is that? It's just the whole design of it altogether. They've somehow completely packaged a 2014 deck in 2022, and it works. That's the worst part. It works. And whether it remains to be seen, it depends on, first of all, the Japanese deck builders. It depends on how they proceed to move forward with this deck set. 2, depends on what the English online community does with this deck. Now that Dear Days actually has the full release of it, you could actually play this early despite your delays. So there's going to be a lot of people dipping their hands into this. There's going to be a lot of discussion because this is a relatively entry-based set. As we covered in our unboxing video, this is a $60 product, or about a few thousand yen. It's not anything too mind-killing, so it is quite alright actually. So there'll be a lot of beginners picking up this deck, there'll be a lot of veterans picking up this deck. There will be a lot, and I mean a lot, of sad people picking up this deck who want to relive their old childhood nostalgia. But will they succeed? I don't know. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all next time. No, stop.